Today I did not jerk off before my video, which I normally do, but I keep my semen to have a maximum impact in my... The price of my fragrance will be tripled soon. Fragrances to me are like an art form, and some cars to the extent are also an art form. And what does a car manufacturer do? They produce a very small amount of cars to make them exclusive. We will also produce a small amount to keep us exclusive. But ultimately, of course, I want to have a girlfriend and a wife. Turning that girlfriend into a wife and have great kids. You gotta handle and understand your sexual energy. Gives you ultimate power. It gives you the strength to convince people.
Without the top that you're wearing now would be an interesting picture.
Is it okay that I smell you real quick?
Yeah, I mean,
You don't have a fragrance on.
From standing on top of the fragrance world to slowly unraveling in public, losing his grip and his fan base in just a few short years, this is the wild rise and fall of Jeremy Fragrance. Jeremy Fragrance, real name Daniel Rudinsky, carved out a lane nobody saw coming. While everyone else chased vlogs and pranks, he built an entire brand around reviewing colognes. Back in 2014, he launched his channel wearing sharp suits, living the model lifestyle, and opening every video with that now legendary spin. He wasn't just talking about perfume, he was selling a whole vibe: confidence, discipline, attraction, ambition. Jeremy had a rare skill. He could talk straight through the screen and make people feel something. That kind of presence was almost unheard of on YouTube at the time. Fans constantly said the same thing. This guy can make you hear smells. Whether it was a smooth night scent or a clean daily wear, he explained fragrances like characters in a movie. Every scent had a personality. Every bottle had a type of person attached to it. On top of that, his good looks and bold confidence played a huge role. He often brought female models into his videos, asking for honest reactions to men's fragrances and which ones worked best for different situations. Watching real reactions became a huge draw. That formula worked. His channel exploded past 2 million subscribers, and his TikTok climbed to around 10 million followers. Another thing that separated Jeremy from everyone else was how raw he felt. No jump cuts, no polish. If he walked off screen for a full minute, it stayed in. Sometimes he disappeared on purpose just to do something completely random, and somehow it all felt real.
Smell of pizza. Okay, let's smell it. I want to have sex with this pizza.
Milk is the most similar to mother's milk. It smells so gorgeous. Oh, yes! Yeah! It smells trustworthy because butter is similar to mother's milk a little bit. Oh, I post this on TikTok so I can't be too explicit.
Got the six-pack, I got the good vibes, I got the red Ferrari, I got the golden Rolex, I'm a millionaire, I love what I do, I say fuck you in your fucking ass if I want to say that.
Fans didn't click away, they waited. Even when nothing was happening on screen, people stayed locked in because Jeremy felt unpredictable in a way that was real. One fan summed it up perfectly, saying, "I love how this guy is just himself. He's unapologetic." He'd answer the door mid-video, bump his head on the wall, double-check his mic, then carry on like nothing happened. That chaos made him feel authentic. But fame built on intensity, and image cuts both ways. And for Jeremy Fragrance, the cracks slowly started to show. His confidence and calm delivery made people trust him deeply. Some fans even joked that he could sell them air, and they'd still buy it. That trust took a hit when Jeremy launched a Patreon asking fans for financial support. He claimed he needed money to buy a new laptop so he could keep editing his videos. Loyal followers stepped up, believing they were helping him stay afloat. Then came the shock. Just weeks later, Jeremy uploaded a post titled "My New Car." Instead of a modest upgrade, he revealed a Ferrari, a purchase worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The timing looked bad. Really bad. Fans felt played, especially after being told he was struggling to afford basic equipment. Things spiraled further when negative comments started disappearing. Under the original post, only praise remained, but re-uploads told a different story. Viewers called it out bluntly, saying he begged for donations and then turned around and bought a Ferrari. Many described it as fake and manipulative. Years later, Jeremy claimed he'd changed and eventually sold the car. What never happened was the real conversation. He never directly addressed the lie or explained why fans were misled in the first place. That silence stuck with people.
As you know, a Picasso painting or some other champagne is also very low in production, but it's not the actual value of it. So don't underestimate the actual value of a fragrance.
Oh, this is literally my favorite smell. You know what this is? It's ghee.
Looking back, this moment feels like a warning sign. As his popularity kept climbing, the behavior raised more eyebrows. Not long after, Jeremy landed in hot water again after attending an event hosted by the New York Young Republican Club. Jeremy later posted Instagram stories posing with two German far-right figures, and the backlash came fast. The photos showed Jeremy standing next to Alexandra Klein, a 31-year-old YouTuber and activist tied to the German branch of the identification movement, alongside David Wendels, a 38-year-old editor-in-chief of the Deutsche Courier, a publication known for its links to the right-wing populist party Alternative for Germany. In another image, Jeremy also posed with Austrian right-wing politician and TV commentator Gerald Gross. Once those selfies hit Jeremy Fragrance's Instagram stories, the fallout was immediate. Major brands began cutting ties one after another. Sky Deutschland and Aldi Nord publicly ended their relationships with him and quietly removed ads and sponsored content that featured his face. His publisher, Heel Verlag, followed soon after, announcing they would no longer reprint his books or collaborate with him in the future. Behind the scenes, things were unraveling even faster. Jeremy was reportedly close to locking in a massive business deal, one that could have pushed his brand to the next level, but it collapsed before it was ever finalized. The momentum he'd built was suddenly shaky. Just weeks earlier, on December 21st, 2018, Jeremy had been riding the absolute peak of his career. Confident in his fragrance expertise, he launched his own perfume brand, Fragrance One. To legitimize the move, he partnered with legendary perfumer Alberto Morillas, the man behind iconic scents for brands like Calvin Klein, Giorgio Armani, and Marc Jacobs. Together, they developed Fragrance One's debut scent, a project that looked like a guaranteed win.
Really hardcore. I gotta open the door real quick. 1 second, guys. We received some new samples. I will smash my head into the wall now, but not too strong.
I should have had a big money deal with a German fragrance chain, which would have given me about 300,000 to up to more than $1 million. And it just exploded because I was in a show where I took pictures with multiple people, and one of those guys was a right-wing guy.
Jeremy pitched the brand as a solution to choice overload, promising simple, straight-to-the-point fragrances designed for specific occasions without the usual confusion. To bring it to life, he turned to his audience. Jeremy launched a Kickstarter campaign asking fans to help fund production and turn the idea into a real company. The goal was just 25,000 euros, and it was fully funded within minutes. Donations kept pouring in, eventually reaching around 800,000 euros, making it the most crowd-funded fragrance launch ever at the time. On paper, it looked like the perfect comeback setup. Jeremy's dream brand was officially real, and he immediately kicked off an aggressive marketing push to dominate the fragrance space. Office for Men was originally supposed to launch at around 39 euros, roughly $45, a clean and affordable price for what Jeremy described as a simple, everyday office scent. But right before release, Jeremy Fragrance suddenly changed course, saying the fragrance felt far more valuable than a 39 euro product and deserved a much higher price point. When the perfume finally dropped, fans were stunned. The price jumped to about $160 for a 100 milliliter bottle, putting it in the same lane as high-end luxury brands with decades of history behind them. That alone raised eyebrows, but the real backlash came soon after. On February 4th, 2019, Jeremy shocked supporters again by tripling prices shortly after launch. People immediately started accusing him of running a cash grab, especially since this was marketed as a basic office fragrance, not some rare luxury masterpiece meant to sit behind glass.
You buy the glass bottle. The glass bottle is about 50 cents, 50. Then you got the sprayer right here. This is another 50 cents. So we're at a $1. Then you got the cap. This is another 50 cents. Then you got the box around it, which is another 50 cents. So you're at $2 now for this empty stuff. You need the juice inside. The juice is the most expensive one. It's about $3. So 3 plus 2 is $5. And then you pay for the whole packaging, so it must be filled and everything. So that's another $1. So about $6 in total, and you have a finished fragrance.
What made it worse was how cheap the production reportedly was compared to the retail price. Critics couldn't understand how a fragrance that cost relatively little to produce was being sold at such extreme prices, and Jeremy didn't help matters by comparing his perfume to a priceless piece of art. Fast forward, and his most expensive fragrance now sells for a jaw-dropping $559. Despite all the explanations, much of the fragrance community sees the pricing as wildly inflated and completely out of reach for the average buyer. The mockery didn't stop there. Stories began popping up of customers placing orders, getting charged, and then hearing nothing back. No shipping updates, no replies, no customer service. Just silence, which only fueled the outrage even more.
I just did 5 minutes ago. I stimulated my penis. Not that I came, but I was on my Instagram, I was chatting with girls, and
the number one fragrance icon following the teachings of Jesus. Some of the stuff that I see, how do you console that part with showing your schlong in half of your Instagram posts?
Yeah.
What's the correct way?
If you think about a person like an actor that is in a stripper movie, or some guy that is actually married but has sex in a movie with another woman, is that actually correct to do as a Christian?
But this chaos was only the beginning. For years, Jeremy had built an image as the most polished influencer on the platform. Always sharp, always confident, always in control. That image cracked in 2023 when his content suddenly took a hard turn toward religion. Almost overnight, his style changed completely. The tailored suits were replaced with all-white outfits, a cross hanging from his neck, and posts that felt nothing like the Jeremy fans originally followed, signaling that something much bigger was shifting behind the scenes. Gone were the days of polish and effortless charm. Jeremy now appeared with hollow eyes and a face that looked like it aged a decade in just months. His new self-proclaimed motto became Jeremy Fragrance, #1 fragrance icon that follows the teachings of Jesus, a line he repeatedly commented and pinned under his own videos, making sure no one missed it. This sudden shift stunned longtime fans. Comment sections filled with people asking what happened to him and wondering how someone who once felt grounded had drifted so far. Over time, Jeremy began presenting himself as the greatest fragrance influencer of all time, brushing past controversy and criticism like it didn't apply to him. Things only got stranger. His Instagram turned into a stream of odd, uncomfortable photos, and as short-form content took over, he leaned hard into YouTube Shorts and TikTok. He'd upload the same clip 5 times in a row just to test the algorithm, deleting the rest once one performed better. Eventually, subtlety disappeared completely. Jeremy realized shock got clicks, and he leaned into it hard. What started as awkward humor turned into bizarre dances, strange poses, and moments that left fans genuinely confused.
And today I'm going to sign the contract for my new car, a Ferrari 458 Italia.
Got rid of my second most important, valuable, materialistic possession, which was the red Ferrari.
Some videos crossed into unnecessary sexualized perfume content, while others were just flat out hard to explain. Concern started spreading fast. Viewers commented that the behavior looked like someone struggling deeply, with many saying it resembled signs of substance abuse or serious mental health issues. People kept pointing out how sad it was compared to the calm, confident creator they once followed. It also stopped being about fragrance altogether. Suddenly, Jeremy was reacting intensely to food and drinks, delivering over-the-top monologues about random ingredients. His emotional reaction to Nutella became a viral moment, showing just how far he'd drifted from actual fragrance expertise. Fans couldn't help but compare it to earlier clips where Jeremy Fragrance spoke thoughtfully and professionally about scent composition. Now, many felt his content had turned into noise with no real value. And if Nutella raised eyebrows, his reaction to pizza pushed things even further. That was quickly followed by an unsettling fixation on human milk, a moment that made even loyal supporters pause and seriously question where this was all headed. With his new look and increasingly strange behavior, people online started comparing him to an extreme extreme parody version of himself, saying he felt like a warped hyper-online character rather than the polished creator they once knew. What began as jokes quickly turned into real concern. Fans weren't laughing anymore. Comments flooded in asking, "Is this man okay?" The worry spiked when Jeremy began posting shirtless videos. Even though he was muscular, he looked alarmingly thin and unwell compared to his peak years. Supporters begged him to slow down and take care of himself, saying things like, "Bro, you don't look healthy for real," and "Jeremy, please take a break and eat properly." Whenever people questioned his behavior, the response only made things worse. Instead of addressing concerns calmly, he'd spiral on camera, delivering defensive, rambling speeches that felt more like emotional breakdowns than explanations. As his videos grew more erratic and his physical conditions seemed to decline, fans started speculating about what could be going on. Some joked that inhaling fragrances for years must have messed with his brain, while others openly suspected illegal substance use. Comments got wild, with viewers saying things like, "There's no way this is natural behavior."
Basically said from one day to the other, Camille, you're out and you should do your own thing. Healthy ways to disagree and to separate. However, the way he did it, this was extremely disrespectful and very problematic. I decided to not sign any paperwork and just be cool with Jeremy's handshake agreement and my handshake agreement on a certain equity split, and I guess I learned from that.
Jeremy pushed back hard, denying all illegal substance accusations. He claimed everything was intentional, saying he was acting this way on purpose for attention and views. He even said he didn't care if people accused him of substance use, brushing it off completely. At times, his content started crossing lines that people never expected to see in a random fragrance video on YouTube. What once felt quirky now felt uncomfortable, and viewers began questioning why this was even happening on a channel built around cologne reviews. As more people caught on to his strange behavior, Jeremy quickly earned a new label online, one of the weirdest men on the internet. That attention landed him invites to podcasts and interviews, but instead of toning it down, he doubled down. In one interview, he casually stood up mid-conversation and started doing push-ups, leaving hosts and viewers completely stunned. It felt like Jeremy had fully escaped the fragrance niche. The internet wasn't tuning in for scent advice anymore. People were watching just to see what unhinged thing he'd do next, and many were laughing at him rather than with him. One viewer summed it up bluntly, saying Jeremy went from fragrance reviewer to full-time comedian. That shift didn't just hurt his personal image, it also damaged his brand, Fragrance One. While Jeremy was the loud face of the company, the business was actually co-founded with his brother, Camille Bank. Jeremy handled promotion, while Camille worked behind the scenes, managing operations and keeping things stable. As Jeremy's mental and physical state changed, so did his marketing tactics in 2022. According to people close to the brand, he began shutting Camille out of key decisions, especially because his brother didn't support the increasingly erratic direction Jeremy was taking. That move crossed a serious line. It wasn't just unprofessional, it looked selfish. Jeremy didn't just push boundaries online, he broke trust with his own brother and business partner. Eventually, Camille had enough. Through his own YouTube channel, Scents with Benefits, he managed to secure limited Fragrance One products and sell them on his own website at far more reasonable prices.
Best number one influencer, you could say. So
Number one?
of course.
Of all time?
Hello, I'm like I'm the first of my kind in that scale.
Jeremy Fragrance, the number one fragrance icon that follows the teachings of Jesus. Nobody has done what I have done in the fragrance industry. I'm the best in the category of fragrances. I'm Jeremy Fragrance, the number one fragrance icon that follows the teachings of Jesus.
Compared to Jeremy's inflated costs, fans saw Camille's move as fair and grounded. That decision earned Camille real respect within the fragrance community. While Jeremy's image continued to spiral, his brother quietly gained credibility for putting customers first and refusing to play into the chaos surrounding Jeremy Fragrance. As time went on, concern around Jeremy Fragrance only deepened. Comment sections shifted from jokes to disappointment, with people saying it was sad to see how far he had fallen. Others openly criticized how he treated his own family, calling it wrong and saying he clearly needed help and support. Eventually, Jeremy announced that he was shutting down his fragrance brand for good. In an Instagram post, he said goodbye to his fragrances, claimed he was selling off all remaining stock, and stated the products would never be reproduced again. He even offered a 60% discount code to push remaining inventory. The problem was that fans had heard this before, multiple times. He had previously posted the exact same message using the same image, each time claiming the brand was finished. People started calling it out, joking that he was closing the business several times a year without ever actually stopping. That pattern led to more speculation. Some fans believed the shutdown announcements were just marketing tactics designed to create urgency and push people into spending hundreds of dollars on perfumes. Those suspicions only grew stronger when, on July 26, 2025, Jeremy uploaded a new video titled "My Fragrance Journey Continues," showing no indication that production was ending at all. Although his religious turn had been one of the biggest shifts in his public image, even that started raising questions. While he continued wearing a cross and presenting himself as deeply faith-driven, his online content often didn't reflect that image. His YouTube uploads remained provocative and inappropriate by many viewers' standards.
I know what works, of course. I know that the jumping energy person works a lot, and I do it without any drugs. It's very good for me.
Have you ever done drugs?
No, never in my life I've taken any drugs except drinking alcohol.
Question that always comes up, how many lines did you have today?
I see that as a compliment. As many guys that used to approach women when they were younger, at least in Germany.
Perry Alice 360 Red. I love it, man. It's the dildo of the fragrance industry. It's not so funny, actually. Still don't know how to talk about the topic of masturbating.
When his brother confronted him about the contradiction, it only added fuel to the conversation. Some fans believed Jeremy was exaggerating this persona purely for attention and views. Others pointed to older incidents as proof that questionable behavior had existed long before. One of those moments resurfaced from 2018, when model Sarah Harris shared Instagram stories exposing private Snapchat messages from Jeremy. The messages showed him openly flirting and making inappropriate remarks toward her, including comments like, "You hot woman," which many viewers found uncomfortable and unsettling. By that point, for a lot of people, the concern was no longer just about fragrances or branding. It was about a pattern of behavior that seemed to repeat itself no matter how many times Jeremy claimed things were changing. Things crossed into seriously disturbing territory when screenshots from a private conversation between Jeremy Fragrance and model Sarah Harris began circulating online. In the messages, Jeremy made unwanted and explicit advances, describing a fantasy scenario after a dinner date that Sarah never asked for and clearly did not want. Sarah shut it down immediately, responding calmly and making it clear she wasn't interested, saying, "It's not gonna happen."
In English, it's written M-A-Y-B-E. Whenever I said that, I did push-ups to punish myself. 20. I have tried to find the best solution for you to skip the jungle of fragrances when you go into a fragrance store. Oh, which fragrance should I take? Does this last long? Is this mass appealing? Do I get compliments? What fragrance should I buy?
That should have been the end of it. Instead, Jeremy doubled down, replying with aggressive and graphic messages that crossed every line of basic respect and consent. He went on to describe how she should dress, how the night would supposedly go, and what he expected from her physically, speaking as if her appearance somehow gave him permission to talk to her that way. Sarah once again rejected him, firmly stating, "That's a dream you have. It will never happen. I might look sexual, but I'm not a hoe." Rather than backing off, Jeremy's tone shifted from inappropriate to outright hostile. He began making personal attacks, bringing up her age, implying time was running out, and making degrading comments about how she should use her time wisely and who she should be intimate with, framing it as advice while clearly trying to insult her.
What happened is, in May of this year, maybe some of you remember, Jeremy decided to close down the brand. And he did that in a way where he would just go online, as he always does, post a video about it, and then people were asking me, like, "What's going on, Camille?" And I said, honestly, I have no idea. Jeremy's original reasoning about it was that he wants to be more creative again, he wants to be an artist, and wants to have less bureaucracy. His version of bureaucracy is me being concerned about his mental health and also his effect on the business, to be honest, because the way he's been doing things over the last couple of months and years have not been doing well.
At that point, Sarah understandably pushed back, calling out the assumptions and disrespect. Jeremy ended the exchange with a final, cruel message implying her worth was tied to male validation and saying, "The clock is ticking," before cutting contact. Once Sarah posted the screenshots publicly, the reaction was immediate. Jeremy's reputation took a massive hit, with people commenting things like, "I absolutely believe he's pressured women before," and calling the messages manipulative, narcissistic, and alarming. As backlash spread, Jeremy reportedly tried to call Sarah repeatedly in an attempt to smooth things over, but the damage was already done. Sarah made it clear she had no interest in engaging further with someone who spoke to her that way, and for many people, this moment confirmed that the concerns around Jeremy weren't exaggerated. They were real, documented, and impossible to ignore. After that, things escalated again. Jeremy reached out to Sarah on Instagram, this time flipping the narrative and trying to paint himself as the victim. He sent messages claiming her accusations had pushed him into depression and blamed her for thoughts about quitting YouTube altogether. He even attempted to guilt her by suggesting her actions had driven him to a breaking point.
So this will be called Office for Men. It is our very first fragrance, the best office fragrance currently on the market in my eyes.
The daring category, okay? This is your daring fragrance, and ladies love a man that is bold, that is daring, because you need to have courage. This is a dark rebel rider, which smells like a Harley Davidson man. It smells like tobacco, leather, and whiskey. And this one, Spice Bomb. This smells like an explosion of spices, super dominant, super aggressive, but super bold and somehow sexy.
Those tactics went nowhere. Sarah didn't give in, didn't retract anything, and didn't engage with the manipulation. Online reactions were brutal. People called out the behavior as textbook narcissism and said he was embarrassing himself rather than fixing anything. Years later, more unsettling stories surfaced. As Jeremy Fragrance publicly complained about struggling to find a partner, he decided to crowdsource one through TikTok. He posted videos listing detailed requirements for a woman he wanted to date, then quietly adjusted those criteria over time to better fit his own preferences. Women who matched what he was looking for were added on Snapchat, where he asked them to send videos to verify themselves. Some reported receiving unsolicited videos from him first, followed by requests for responses. Others said he made comments about their appearance, sometimes mocking them, before shifting into uncomfortable personal questions. The behavior didn't stop there. Multiple accounts described conversations that quickly turned inappropriate and intrusive. What disturbed people most was the age gap. Many of the women were very young adults, while Jeremy referred to them as ultra young, language that made viewers deeply uneasy, even without crossing legal boundaries. Screenshots and testimonies described him oversharing sexual topics, making crude remarks, and asking questions that had no place in a conversation with strangers. The tone wasn't awkward flirting. It came across as invasive and disrespectful. As these stories spread, people began pointing out the contradiction between his public religious image and his private behavior. Commenters openly said that his actions didn't align with the values he claimed to follow. For many observers, this wasn't just another controversy, it reinforced a pattern of manipulation, boundary pushing, and hypocrisy that had been building for years. Even during his usual street interviews with women, moments kept popping up where Jeremy's behavior felt off. In one clip, viewers pointed out that he leaned in for a sniff before the woman even agreed, something that immediately made people uncomfortable. Some brushed it off as awkward humor, but others weren't buying it.
I'm looking for a girlfriend. You must be Christian and you must be under 32.
Christian, under 32, and the characteristics of a supportive woman that lets the man be the man, and she as a woman has the housewife attitude while still being a super sexy woman.
One sarcastic comment summed it up perfectly, saying, "So you're telling me a man in his 30s who's desperate for a partner but can't seem to get one behaves weirdly around women? Who could have seen that coming?" That sentiment started gaining traction. Today, Jeremy Fragrance barely resembles the creator who once dominated the fragrance space on YouTube. His channel has turned into a chaotic loop of repeated catchphrases, recycled clips, and strange antics that feel more like meme farming than actual reviews. The unique energy that once made him stand out, the honest opinions, and the deep knowledge of fragrances have been buried under non-stop promotion of his own perfume line. Viewers say there's no real value left. Same titles, same ratings, same white suit, over and over again. Back when Jeremy introduced niche scents to a mainstream audience, his opinions genuinely influenced buying decisions. Now that trust is gone. Most viewers don't see him as objective anymore because nearly every video circles back to pushing his own products. Still, despite everything, parts of the fragrance community haven't completely let go. Fans revisit his old videos and leave comments saying things like, "I miss this version of you," and "Prime Jeremy was different."
Yeah, I asked for a video of you. Can you send me a video of you saying something like, "Hi, Jeremy"?
Hey, pretty woman with the intense teeth. Is it possible at your age that you're still a virgin, Maria?
I gotta interrupt your video. I got totally a boner seeing your face and seeing you talk. Totally a boner in my pants, but I'm not going to
Some even say he used to be their hero. And now I want to hear from you. What do you think really happened to Jeremy Fragrance? And do you think there's any path back for him? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like if you found this breakdown interesting, subscribe to the BeyondFame channel for more deep dives like this, share the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Trying to calm the situation, he uploaded a video meant to reassure fans. Instead, it did the opposite. People fixated on how bizarre it looked as Jeremy Fragrance walked down the street shirtless, eating protein powder off lettuce out of a cardboard box. For many, that wasn't reassurance. It was confirmation that something was seriously off. Even his long-form videos started falling apart. In the middle of fragrance reviews, he'd suddenly blurt out strange, uncomfortable comments, completely break character, and go off on unrelated tangents. Realizing he'd overshared, he'd abruptly switch gears, wrap things up, and move on like nothing happened. Sometimes he wouldn't even finish reviewing the scent at all. Viewers were left confused, joking that he was now reviewing the fragrance of loneliness and edging. And this wasn't a one-off moment. His videos increasingly featured odd remarks and unexplained behavior popping up out of nowhere, leaving fans more unsettled every time.